Hello. Well, that went off without a hitch. Hello, welcome to the Plastic Crack Podcast, Season 3, Episode 2. And yeah, I didn't get that wrong. But welcome and thank you for joining us. That's it. That's what I was looking for. Whoever just turned that on, thank you. I believe that's Ken because he looks smug.
I am smug.
So welcome. How are you guys doing tonight?
Yeah, pissed off.
Very well, very well.
Why are you annoyed, Ken? Let's get it out of the way now. Why are you annoyed?
I'm still in the same fucking house.
Poor old
That's
dear.
why I'm annoyed. I'm still waiting, taking a piss. Goddamn change.
You're not a patient. You're not a patient person, are you? When it comes to
to be fair,
immediately.
To be fair, I have been waiting like 9 or 10 months. Oh my, you lucky sod as well for drinking that.
Like that.
Yeah, and I've got tea, but because I was in such a rush, I had to put the milk in the tea bag straight away downstairs, and I hate doing that. I hate having the milk in there while you're stewing. It's not.
First 10 minutes of this stream is Ken moaning about everything.
His cup of tea.
Just everything.
Yes. It's a rather large cup of tea, but yeah.
To be fair, though, milk and tea bag in the same mug is probably borderline illegal.
It is. It's just wrong,
it's foul.
Yeah, I know.
Shouldn't be allowed.
Well, thank you to everyone who has joined us tonight on your Monday evening. Steve reliably informs me that this is apparently the most depressing day of the year, so we're going to finish it off for you in style. And we're going to make sure it truly is the most depressing day of the year. But no, thank you, Joyce. As always, you have got Steve below me from On Point HQ. You've got Dom from Boots on the Table. You've got Ken from Miniature Wargaming Warriors, and myself, Martin, the Seventh Son. Thank you for joining us. Welcome and hello to everybody who's watching on the replay. Thank you very much for taking the time to do that. Should we see who's here? Say hello to a few people. We got
lots of people.
Benjamin was here earlier. Hello, Benjamin. We got Dave Baker, Louis Baby, and Andrew JF, Wilco Mui. Is that me? Mut? I'm not sure I've seen you before, but hello. Welcome. Paul Crouch, Leslie's here. Hello, mate. Enemy in Sight, Lionheart, Ham and Jam, Gary Bramley, Steve Harbert. Steve, I did get your message, but that number's my work phone. Because I wasn't kind of at work today, but I kind of was. I haven't replied, but I will reply. Lacey Pirate Painting, Gary Phillips, Nick Games, Rich John, Shakos and Sprues, Vickers City, Lazy Pirate Painting, Granaprigo, Jim Reaper, Carl Burks, East Norfolk's, Drew from Tenement Tabletop. Looked like you had a very good game the other day. I've got a picture of that for the end. And Crossing Obstacle Gaming, John City, Mark Forsyth, Rogue Trooper, Daniel Justin, Bill Roy. Hello, how are you doing? The Bad Penny has returned indeed.
Hey.
Studio Garu, Triarius Wargaming, Red Steph, Britannicus Games, Yorkshire Gamer, Friends of General Haig, Storm of Steel, how you doing? Killer Kriegs Marine, Corey. I think that's pretty much everybody. The Stoic Steve, John Carter. I'm not going to be able to get through. Hello, welcome to everyone. I will try and keep up. So tonight we're going to go around and see what people have been working on. But tonight's subject is we basically thought we would do a bit of a Q&A because there's always questions in the chat and we never ever get around to answering them. So this is your chance to ask some questions. We've already got some that were posted in the Facebook group, but if you think of anything while the show is going on and we're doing our little roundup of what we've done, drop them in the comments and I will try to pick them out. So anything wargaming or painting, or if you really want to know about the fiddle yard, then just let us know. Well, but no, mustn't go on about that too much, must we?
You're a bully.
You're so sore about that.
Well, we might as well kick off with Ken then. So, because I'm probably this is going to be reliably short. So, Ken, what have you been up to?
Nothing.
That is reliably short.
Just literally stressing so much that your eyes feel like they're bleeding and swearing at solicitors and then being told you can move house and then your solicitor telling you can't move house because someone's been waiting 6 months to make an inquiry about something. Does that count? Because if it does, then yeah, I've been doing loads.
No, that's not it. Well, yeah, but
I
it's
bought
not
some
bad.
paint and I visited my favourite shop. I went to IKEA. That was fun. looking at display cabinets for the room, possibly for models and miniatures, because they had a little bit of sale going on.
If you ever get in it. That's just awful. I couldn't go and do that. I couldn't go and start looking at stuff to kit out my gaming room.
No,
so I had
can't.
my gaming room.
No.
Yeah,
That'd be just driving me nuts.
I'm literally just planning, and it's nice to plan, but yes, it's no, I haven't managed to get anything done. I've been too busy dealing with house stuff.
Is that what you were doing when we were waiting for the show to start? Were you dipping your tea bag in your tea?
Yes.
Because you were waving your hand in front of the camera like this.
Yeah.
I couldn't work out what you were doing. I thought you were trying to signal to me or something. That something.
No. It's
It
just
was a distress call. He was.
I didn't know what he was doing. I nearly stopped the stream. I was trying to work out what he was doing.
I have a very large cup of tea.
Bloody hell.
What do you keep going on about?
God, blimey. Yes.
I
See,
do.
look at this. Look at this. I have my Mark III Space Marines as well as my my French Ultramarine cup as well.
Does it heat up and does it?
It
change
does.
when
It does.
Well-
The Aquila's not there, and he was the Space Marine normally. It's because it's not.
Oh, Jesus. Bill, yes, Ken getting his affiliate marketing fee from IKEA in already.
Yes, too bloody right.
Most definitely. All right then. Dom.
Oh,
This
wow.
will fill 20 minutes. How you been? What you been up to, mate?
I'll have to put my paint pot lid on. Hang on a sec. Right.
Sorry, well, that's a few miniatures off next week's total.
Yeah. Well, actually, I've been heavily into terrain this week. This week I shall mainly paint terrain. I don't know why. I just suddenly got the bug to do loads of terrain. So I posted some of these up already, but I did a whole load of desert stuff, which I thought was quite fun. I quite enjoyed doing that. Just cheap and cheerful.
Very nice.
Very
Plastic Chinese palm trees and tufts things.
Is that going to be for your like not crescent and cross, like line rampant kind of stuff?
Yeah, just do you know what? We were playing a game the other week down the club, and I don't think any of us had any real desert terrain. So,
that's my thing. That's part what I'm currently trying to build up stock of after my current terrain thing. Is the next thing is suitable sort of Holy Land kind of looking terrain.
Exactly.
No palm trees in the desert. Remember that.
No palm trees in the desert. No. I did palm tree-less ones. There you go. So there's some more. So I did that. I picked up these really good trees. I thoroughly recommend these. These are Warlord ones. Well, they're available on the Warlord site. I think they're called N-Gauge or something. They're 15 mil. I think they're for the new Epic stuff. They don't come based or anything, so I just base them up. So it's a cheat to put them in there. But they were doing them in the sale, 8 of them for 10 quid. I thought it's not bad at all. They're really nice.
Good. They look, and it's really quite rare you see trees of that colour. Normally they're just green.
Yeah.
What's the stuff called? Is it seafoam? Is that is it quite brittle?
No, it's not at all. No, it's like
plastic in it, Dom. That's plastic.
No. They're not. They're like leaching type things. You know, they're proper. They are really nice models. Really nice models. I'm very impressed with them.
Have they got any left? Because I'll go in there and buy those.
No, they haven't. I went back to buy more once I got them, and they were no longer available. I think they'll be set. They're normally 20 quid for 8, so they were doing the half.
Blimey!
So I thought it was a good deal. So I picked them up in there. I think it was a Bad Santa sale. They were doing them. Finally got around to painting that building.
Nice.
It's been waiting for ages to be done. But this was the other one. I showed the video that if you saw the video, this was my Christmas present to myself. Was some Peninsula buildings that I got from Games of War, which I've never heard of before, but they do lots of pirate stuff. And these are supposed to be Caribbean buildings. And so,
these are the ones that I saw, isn't it, Dom?
Yeah, that's right, mate.
Are they pre-painted or did you paint them?
No, I painted them up. So they come.
They're very cool.
They're resin. They're modular. So they, each one is pretty much the same as each other, but they've got all the insides and everything. So floor, paving on the inside of them or what have you, and the walls are all. That was really, really good. So I've been painting that up. I've got a load more to paint tonight. But I did do some figures because I don't want to let you boys down. So I did the other squad of my Greek First World War jobbies.
Oh, they're nice.
That's the 4th squad done. So that was all I got in the Kickstarter. And then I also got some little green bastards for Martin because I know how much he loves them. He is a very big fan, isn't he?
Are those the Wargames Atlantic ones?
So yeah, the ones on the right are. The two on the left are
They're
not.
metal, aren't they?
No, they're plastics as well. I just
They're
found
plastic,
them
are they?
Yeah, I found them when I was sorting through all the figures, and I just thought I'd paint them up. So yeah, but those ones are just complete the rest of. So I wanted 2 squads of green bastards. So with the ones that are already painted, those will be them. And then that is another Greek World War One squad, World War Two squad. That's the elite mountain jobbies.
Cool.
So Evizonis or whatever they're called. So I did them as well. So that's all. That's all I've done.
Nice.
That's it.
All right.
Yeah, I'm working through some more of those buildings here. They're really good. I'm impressed with them.
That is very cool. No, I haven't watched your video yet, but it was on my list today. But then, unfortunately, events took over slightly. So I couldn't do it. Steve, what have you been up to, mate?
I had a couple of days off last week. I booked them last minute. So I got a mixed bag done, shall we say. My better half had to put up with me talking about chaff and fodder for 2 days. So I'll start with the weird stuff. I'll get the weird stuff out of the way.
Perfectly normal still. I don't know what you're on about.
So
That's some mega weird shit you've been doing.
where we at?
That fucking carrot was unreal.
Right. So
It wasn't a carrot. It was a sex aid.
Yeah, it is a butt plug. Let's not lie.
Yeah.
So I built that last Tuesday.
See, I'm not going to lie. That does look like the size of a poo. So you haven't.
Have you made that from the gardener? You know, the flower display.
Yeah.
Foams?
Yeah, foam. Yeah.
Yes, I carved it.
Okay. Where the fuck did you get that from?
I've got a big block of it.
You just picked it up when you were out and about once.
Yeah, I think
You were whittling a root vegetable.
Yeah, I was going to say you ain't even got a garden.
I know. Yes, I whittled some root veg from there. I think it's called Oasis or something, or
it is,
kind of fun. But there was stuff everywhere. The actual root bits sticking out of it are from a big ball of plastic things that I use for jungle scenery. And the actual, I should explain it's what's called a root shrine. So this is part of my second Turnip 28 army, which is going to be it's called the Procession of Woe. So rather than having a toff, this is my toff. It has all kinds of weird powers. But the 2 guys in the front are just Napoleonic French with Perry's helmets on. And the shrine is built from balsa wood, bits of MDF. There's some opal blitz in there as well. Yeah.
Is that like if you sealed it with anything? Because I imagine as soon as you hit that,
Yeah,
it's just gonna like.
I've not started painting. Here it is. What I'm going to do is give it a.
Jesus Christ!
What I'm going to do is give it a sort of a sealant of watered down PVA. So hopefully it'll bond and give it sort of a plasticky sort of layer. But I didn't stop with the turnip there. I built these.
I tell you what, if we didn't have an 18 rating before, we certainly do now.
So these ones, I built these at about 9 o'clock in the morning and painted them painted the base during the day. So this is my first unit of fodder.
Okay.
These are
sweet.
These are brutes. Sorry.
Well, I like this the marshy sort of shit. The base is awesome.
Oh yeah, I was starstruck. So the guy that created Turnip 28, Max Fitzgerald, asked me on Instagram how I made my mud. Yeah. I was so made up.
Did you tell him?
I told him.
Oh, good. Right.
So can I please have access to the next edition early?
So they are built from a combination of Perry's 100 Years' War, the Frostgrave Cultists, and the Fire. They're brilliant kit, and the Fireforge Living Dead Peasants. See the guy in the middle with the axe?
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see, but his jaw's falling off.
Oh yeah.
That reminds me of some of the people we saw out when we were in Derby.
So I was gonna leave the turnip for a while, but then me and Paul had a bit of an exchange on Facebook. So Paul from Paul's Paint Sheds, because I was listening to Primordial, and I said it was perfect Turnip 28 music, and he said no, it isn't. The Wurzels are perfect Turnip 28 music.
That's true. Yeah.
So I made them.
Oh my God. I saw the Wurzels a couple of years ago. They played Pop in the Park in Cambridge. So they had like in the big park in the middle of Cambridge. They set the Wurzels up for a day.
Brilliant.
That sounds utterly surreal. I don't know how I'm going to use these. I just wanted to Turnip 28 Wurzels or musicians.
The marching band, yeah, you could just put them at the front and then have everyone ranked up behind them.
I'm so tempted to turnip these Space Marines. It's just unreal just to put them on the Warhammer community page.
Oh,
to see what happens.
You'd be hunted down, mate. They would put
I am so tempted. It's unreal. And then call them my own chapter. So use the chapter rules to be able to use them.
I have a bodyguard. Her name is Haley.
So on Friday, I got around to finishing part one. That's a return to normality with some bolt action. So I finished part one of my bolt action project, which is these. So that's my finished M10, cool. A bazooka team, and a HQ. And I'm rather chuffed with how they turned out.
Yeah, lovely.
They do. They do look awesome. The problem, every time I look at your World War II stuff, it does it does tempt me back to it. And then I quickly again think about camouflage and go no.
So that was my week. So mostly tonight I'm painting more turnip. I'm painting. This is a base of fodder with missile weapons. You know what the weird thing is? Apart from the skin, everything I paint is with a size 0 wedge brush. Everything. I don't even try and be neat with them. Everything is just painted with one big thick brush.
To be fair, I thought you were going to say like you were going to paint with like a piece of broccoli or something like that. Just like really like dab it on. Let's see what people are saying in the chat. Bicker City, I think it sums it up for probably about 50% of the chat. Yeah. Benjamin, that thing needs a cod piece. I assume you mean the carrot. Red Steph wants to know where the batteries go.
You've all got filthy minds.
There we go. Steve would like you. He said, "Can you do a live stream with the painting?" And Storm of Steel. There's not enough vegetables on wargaming tables. That's probably
spot on,
true.
Mate.
That's quite true. When Steve does his table for CrackCon 2, he's just going to go to the greengrocers and just deposit. A whole bag across the tabletop. That'll be it.
And a wheelbarrow full of compost.
They'll love you for it. Just go down the road. Everyone's plant beds, all their flower beds, their vegetable patches down that road are all just empty. But Steve's got a full wargaming table.
Here's one from Ken. I think it's quite funny. The definition of weird shit in one photograph.
You're absolutely right, Ken. Rule 4, definitely to the fore there.
No, that's it. Storm of Steel says he loves the M10, and obviously a lot of love for your World War II bits and bobs. I can't scroll back far enough to find. Basically everyone's just asking if that's where Ken's going to live now, Dom. I think in the house that you painted. Leslie says I could do my World War II stuff in the snow. I have done all that research. I could do. I could, to be fair. I do still have a lot of snow product to use. Well, my week, unsurprisingly, has only been really one thing, but I've basically finished it off. Or finished it off to what I would say is now like ready to use, but I'm going to take it further. So I finished my castle that I've been working on. So there's the gate, the gatehouse, and everything. And I loved painting this. I absolutely loved it. And it didn't take very long either. The only reason it's the video is taking so to put out is because I lost my voice during the week. So it's an absolutely fantastic kit. And as I said to you, Steve, I think you should buy one of the watchtowers and turnip it. I really, really do. I think it would be wicked.
I may have to do that. That sounds like a too good idea to turn down.
Oh, it'd be great. It'd be a great objective, and you could have all sorts. Plus, it's all in, all the interior. You could have roots going up the walls. You could have a stump gun on the top, like some kind of obscene flak tower.
And I remember seeing on Instagram that I think one of the cults that's being developed are going to be that cult of gate towers.
Well, there you go. It's perfect. The great thing, I mean, here's I took this one yesterday because I realised I hadn't done. So the kit it goes together so nice. So it's just been great fun. In fact, that it's modular, and so that's the sort of setup I'm most likely to have it in at the moment. But I've got another wall section that I can use if we want to build it up. But I could also use it to raise the level of the gatehouse and the curtain walls as well. So so it was just a lot of fun. And then of course I had to do one with some Wars of the Roses stuff on it. So I had to see that. But what I'm going to do next is, well, you can see it's kind of an experiment with the flags on there. So all those flags are the ones that are on my bases. But what I want to do now is actually create sort of flag poles, if you like, that can be swapped in and out depending on whose castle it's meant to be. And so, like Dom, if I'm playing you can just stick a flag pole in there, or if someone captures a certain tower, you can put your flag on it, while on the other tower someone else's flag is on it, and they could just sit there throwing things at each other. We'll be adding things like garderobes, like toilets and things like that onto the outside of the walls, weapons racks. Might even add some hoarding. So that one's going to probably take a little bit longer because I've got to scratch build a lot of stuff. I've actually picked up like a whole load of styrofoam so I can actually do some sculpting, because you just get so many leftovers with these kits as well. So I think I showed in the video, but look, I've got like a whole nother tower section like this. So it doesn't have a floor in it, but I can raise the tower. So this one I'll put like a garderobe, like the toilet on. But you could also just leave a section of this off and use it as a piece of destroyed tower. But I've got this whole, all this bag here is just filled with spare pieces of wool, straight wool. So I think I've got enough in there to actually do some like a breached rampart.
I was going to say, you must be able to do bits of broken down wall and stuff with that.
I think I'm definitely I'm going to give it a go, because otherwise, what's the point in having those bombards if you can't knock down
exactly.
a few walls?
Is it?
No, so that's what I've been working on, but you'll be back into doing some sort of more standard stuff. I've got some horsemen, more horsemen, but not Napoleonic horsemen to work on. But yeah, and so let's see what everyone is saying. Where is the catapult for the cow? I've got it. It's right here. Look, actually, warlords do make a dead cow, don't they?
They
do make some dead cows. I may have to do that. So no, definitely. Well, all right. Well, everyone's just talking about chucking disease stuff across the top of the the walls, but no, that's it. So, but if anyone's interested on how it's painted, the video is actually going to be out tomorrow, because it's not actually very complicated. So, but it again just took a while to come out because I couldn't talk last week. Haley thought it was great. So what we're going to do tonight is we had a bit of a Q&A. So what I've done is I've compiled the questions that we've had online. We'll go around. There's some of these questions we've answered before. So if you are a long-time viewer of the Plastic Crack Podcast, the answers are going to be, or maybe there's going to be some new answers, considering it may have been a little while, but we know there are a lot of new viewers, so I thought it would actually be worth answering some of them again. So I think we should start with something. Let's start with something fun. Warren had a good question, and I think we're going to start with Dom. So Warren wants to know, what bad hobby habits are we all going to try and kick in 2020?
Why are you starting with me on bad habits?
Bad habits always start with you, Dom.
That's a good question, actually.
Really good question, to be fair.
I'll fill so you get time to think of it. I'm not a decent answer, Ken. Bad habits. I don't have any bad habits. I'm just.
You say this every time. Every time it's a question. Oh, I don't do that. Or I don't do anything like
Yeah,
that.
you
I
have.
don't
You know you've
dislike
got a
it.
bad habit.
No, I tell you, I kind of already sort of talked around this, I guess, last week when we were talking about sort of things we plan to do this year. So I'm going to try, don't laugh, and be a bit more disciplined about the armies I collect. And I'm going to sort of, now it's actually, people were talking about how the place looks full already. It's because I'm sorting things out. That's why. And that allows me to see just how many figures I've got and what I don't need. So I'm going to try and be a little bit better about it. And yeah, just, I got a little bit silly with just like magpie syndrome, see something shiny, buy it, and I'm now sort of stopping for a day or two before I move on and then buy it anyway. But that's that's progress, right? So that's my bad habit is just literally going, I want, and then think, shit. So I'm trying not to do that.
Okay, all right. So
probably won't be successful.
That's what I'm saying. That's never going to happen. That's never going to happen. Ken, what about you? What bad hobby habit are you going to try and kick? Something new.
Start a project and actually finish it. That'd be in. Then try not to quit halfway through. When I start, if I start painting a unit or I start painting something, I need to finish that unit before I move on and do something else. Basically, need to finish it.
Would it be fair to say that in 2021 you sort of struggled to find your mojo with a few projects that you wanted to start? And,
yeah, it's more
still grab you, hasn't it? You've still got to grab you. You know, even if you say you're going to do something, like obviously I know you got into ECW and you did the research. We had a lot of chats about it, and then you started doing it, and it just didn't take.
No, because there was something new and shiny coming out. I think probably my worst habit is try. I know it's bad because I'm meant to do YouTube, but it's probably trying not to look at so many different things. Try and be sensible and not. Do you know what I mean? Don't try not to jump on the hype train all the time.
What, you jump on hype train?
Do you?
He never does that.
Don't lay into Ken. Don't lay into Ken.
I want to lay into Ken.
That's your bad habit. You can kick that. Stop beating me at games.
That's not a bad habit. That's a brilliant habit.
That's an entertaining habit.
Exactly.
I think it's fair enough, but I don't think you should ever go forward with a project if you're not getting any enjoyment out of it just because you've got to finish it.
No, that's the worst thing in the world, isn't it?
Try to stop selling everything he says he's never going to. I haven't got anything else more to sell. Me and Martin were talking about this earlier on, actually.
I was just saying, like, there's nothing left to sell because he sold it.
I've sold it all. It's all gone.
It's gone. Like those shelves behind him aren't bare because he's moving house and it's packed away. They're just
nothing left.
I've got some space marines. I've got some really nice commandos here that British Legion painted that I bought off of him. So they're going to be quite cool for something. I'm going to use them for maybe Operation Squad or Bolt Action. I'll give them a run out. But there's really not anything to actually be sold. So that ain't going to happen this year.
Okay. All right. Okay. Then, Steve, what about what bad hobby habit are you going to kick in 2022?
I'm going to be a bit more judicious in my approach towards projects. So, like we mentioned last week about 3 hobby projects we've got planned for 2022. What tends to happen is I'll have 2 or 3 things that I'm working on, and then a prime example of this was this afternoon. Those things I posted on the group before. So these heavy infantry that I've made from the Stargrave troopers that James gave me. Mm-hmm. I don't know why I made them. So they're not going to be sat there until I'm going to move them off the that's just cruel,
brutal, but true.
So that's my main one, is to be a bit more focused. Like and exactly what Ken said, trying to start something and then just lose complete enthusiasm with it, because that's what happened with those bolt action British I was doing. The ones in Burma. they bored the arse off me, and I that almost ended bolt action for me because I wanted to finish them, but I had no motivation to do it at all. I just didn't. The thought of sitting down and painting 3 colors and that's it was just too much for me. So there's that. Another one, it's a bit of a strange one. I'm not going to be drowning figures in Agrax Earthshade anymore.
Jesus.
I know. I'm still using it, but I used to literally just cover everything in Agrax. I'm being a bit more careful in its application because I think I was finding myself becoming a very, very lazy painter. I was just relying completely on Agrax, and I think as a painter, I think I might have stunted or stopped developing because of it. I was over reliant on Agrax Earthshade. So these infantry that I'm painting, I'm still using Agrax and Athonian, but I'm using them more as paints than washes, if that makes sense. And it just gives it's a better. It looks better. I've got more control over what I'm painting. It's slower because I've got to build it up. But for me, that was a habit I needed to get out of because everything was just all right. We'll put the paint on, destroy everything with Agrax Earthshade. So I couldn't do that with my Lancenettes. And I've sort of moved that over to bolt action. So yes, less reliance on Agrax Earthshade. I'll be going cold turkey. I'll be shaking like I need some Agrax.
So
Agrax.
Wait, are you going to cancel your subscription for delivery of Agrax every fortnight with a articulated lorry that comes in with it?
No, the thing is, I'm still using it, but I'm not drowning everything in it. I'm using it more as it's more of a controlled application than a complete fire hose, which is what I used to do. Plus, I've noticed there has been rumblings in the community about Agrax being a bit shinier than it used to be. I don't know if that was a bad batch or, but people have said that because what I tend to do now is if I'm painting it on, it seems to be okay. And for turnip, the wash I use is Agrax and Athonian mixed together like a dirty wash. You get the best of the greens and the browns from it. But yes, I'm going cold turkey with Agrax washes.
The Landstick project broke you as a project, didn't it? It just remodeled you, like you know. After that, nothing has been the same.
No,
Steve has not been the same Steve since that Landstick project.
I've not, and it taught me. I mean, when I was thinking about painting them, I was thinking what's the quickest way I could do these, and there was not a quick way to paint them. So I just completely changed the way that I approached them.
I have to say I've done a bit the same. I've dropped. I used to be a big wash. Wasn't Agrax, usually non-oil mainly, but I'm trying and dry brush, and I'm trying to cut that right down a bit. And just, I suppose that's not a bad habit. It's just a habit.
Mine was just a habit. It was just something I'd done for the past 4 years, and so I needed to get out of it.
The thing is, what is with everything, isn't it? What you apply to one model, you because you go, oh, that looked good, so I'll do it to the next model. But because you could be painting it just doesn't work. It's like the Crusader figures. I only wash certain parts of those. A lot of it because I figured, it's going to be sun bleached. I don't really want to put washes on there. I want to actually keep highlighting it till so you get that kind of really faded look. Rather than drowning it in strong tone, which I do with some like Napoleonic models.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think also there's that degree of like Stu was just saying about the speed thing. Sometimes just let's get it done, and get out the door. And I'm I paint a lot of figures, and I do just get them done. But even within my get it done, I do take a bit more time over some of them than I ever used to. That's for sure.
Okay, all right, no, that's fair enough. I've got two. One which I think is probably more realistic than the other one. So my realistic one is I'm going to try and stop hoarding because I don't think I'm as bad as Dom. Looking at what's behind him, but I
think you could get there, mine.
I do have quite a lot of stuff, but I'm starting to, and I've already started. Things have been slowly floating their way onto eBay. So I want to get rid of some of that, so I can actually now focus and expand on my projects because a lot of my projects, like my Napoleonics, which is effectively done. It's just little additions. I want to now build up things like like terrain or like the Castles of Wars of the Roses. I'd rather build up bigger things for the projects that I have than start new ones, if that makes sense. So there's a few things that I've got, like I've got Star Wars Legion I want to do, but I've got all the stuff up there is effectively superfluous. And that big black box goes for about 450 quid. So so I saw that and I thought, oh, that might have to wing its way onto eBay. Although I don't know how much it's going to cost to post because it weighs 18 pounds. So it might be quite a lot. So yeah, I guess not hoarding is my main one. But the other bad hobby, I'm going to try and stop bloody losing. I'm going to make a concerted effort. No, genuinely, you laugh. And I know, obviously, it comes down ultimately at the end of the day. In all fairness, at the end of the day, it comes down to what you roll. However, I am going to make an effort to win. When my friend pointed out in December that I hadn't beaten him since April, and I play him nearly every week. But that was quite a sad moment. So I actually am now going to try and learn because I play a lot of different games with him. So one week we'll play Muskets and Tomahawks, and then the next week we'll play I don't know, or say something like Stargrave or Test of Honor. And we go through quite a lot of games before we come back round to that first game. And I'll have had a plan. So we'll play Muskets and Tomahawks, and I'll be like, right, that didn't work. So I need to get some cavalry. I need to sort this. And then because next week we're going to play Test of Honor or something like that, I go, I put that on hold, and then I forget. And then I come back around and go, shit, where are those cavalry? I need to do that. So I'm going to actually try and and I don't want to say I want to become more gamey. That's not what I mean. But obviously I do.
Like to be more.
Not competitive. I don't know. I think maybe I just need to be a bit more aggressive in my games and less defensive. I think I play quite defensively in my games. I did notice that I only started winning with my French when I started actually throwing them up the board rather than sort of like.
Martin, it's weird you say that. I play better in bolt action when I'm losing the first 3 turns. Because turns 4, 5, and 6, I'm like, all right, just run, lads. Let's just have at it. So I make sort of mad tactical decisions, and it tends to work. But yeah, I'm quite a slow player for the first couple of turns. I'm not aggressive enough.
I think all games, or most war games, it benefits by being aggressive. I think the rules generally favour more aggressive play.
What was the mantra in War Machine, Steve? They had like a
play with your balls out or something, or play balls out.
I don't know if it was play with your balls out. I don't know if it was play with your balls out.
Oh no, it's something to do with balls anyway. It was play like you've got a pair or something. It was basically the whole thing behind War Machine was if you're not in the middle of it smashing people up, you're not playing it right.
Play with the carrots out.
Yeah, but then it went so far the other way, it became really, really sort of list centric, didn't it? Which kind of sucked all the joy out of it. No, it did for me. Anyway, all right, then let's see what the chat has to say. I wonder if they've got any hobby habits they're trying to sell. And oh yes, of course. If you aren't in the Facebook group, then the link is down below. You could also find links to all of our channels, so come and check those out if you haven't already. Come over to the Facebook group. Make sure you answer Dom's questions free to gain entry, otherwise he'll
you shall not pass.
You shall not pass. They're not hard questions. To be fair, you could probably just write anything, the fact you've answered them.
Exactly. Probably
those of you there. And of course, if you like what you see, give it a like, because it helps, and we enjoy doing it. So let's see what they say. Battle Matt, my name's Steve, and I became over reliant on Agrak Surf Shape. They're having a bit of a chat about whether the next epic thing is going to be like Naseby or Marsden Moor or something like that. Harpham says he hopes it's not Naseby because there's only so much red he can be asked to paint.
Still got a year before that comes out. Yeah,
at least.
Yeah, it'll be Naseby because that's the pivotal battle. Really, isn't it? I mean, arguably, that's the one that ended it. I don't want to kick it. I don't want Miller to suddenly explode in the chat.
What's the most famous English Civil War battle?
Naseby.
Naseby.
Oh, Marsden Moore and Naseby. I'd say Naseby. I'd say more people.
If you're not a historian, what's the most famous?
It's going to be it's got to be Cromwell involved. It's got to be the Ironsides, all that kind of stuff. So.
Naseby. See, I would argue that a cool one would be Edgehill because it was such sort of a close.
I think Cheriton would be really great because it's right by me.
Luke Farrell says, Ken, just try realistically working out how long a project will take. That Waterloo epic is probably almost a year project, and add your train building. Try not to be disillusioned. Sorry.
It's about
Delusional, sorry.
It's about 6 months realistically, that Waterloo project. It's about 6 months.
Studio Guru says it's not gonna keep drowning miniatures now, Craig Sershay, because AP Strong Tone comes in a bigger bottle.
This is like some kind of. I really appreciate it. It's like some kind of therapy session for me.
Rogue Trooper Games Workshop just had a heart attack at the amount of money they're going to lose as soon as Steve stops buying that. Miller's still going on about something to do with.
That's why their profits are down. You've seen that. Games Workshop's profits are down.
Storm Steel, don't worry, Agrax will forgive you when you go back to it. GW stock has just crashed. So that's all. That's pretty much. And that's funny actually. I thought there'd have been. Maybe I haven't actually just scrolled down to it. Yeah, hang on a second.
What have you done?
No, I just thought there'd be a comment saying something like, don't play Haley or something like that if I don't want to lose. There we go. It's all right. It's all right.
Stop playing Haley.
Stop playing Haley. Jesus Christ. Battle Knights, why aren't I bat repping all these games? Because the games I play sort of midweek around my mates, I sort of just the games away from the channel. I play them somewhere else, so I don't have all my setup there. I suppose I could, but it's sometimes quite nice to go and have a game and not have to worry about how I'm.
He's going to come on here week after week saying, "I won this week. I won with it this week," and there'd be no photographic evidence.
Yeah,
I know
say that. I know that feeling. Fucking don't I know that feeling? I beat Tom and there's nothing. Nil.
What about when I beat you? Well, I beat you on Tabletop Simulator, and you forgot to record it. 3 hours we were sitting there recording that virtually, and Martin, don't swear properly. Don't swear too much because I was getting really angry. And then he hadn't pressed blood. He got the audio, but he didn't have the video. Bicker City, second place is still the first loser. Brilliant. Cheers. That's fantastic. That's absolutely awesome. All right then. Okay, so that was good. That was a good question to kick everything off. Let's have a look. So Barry Hilton. Now this is probably going to be. I don't want to say that this is really only going to be Dom that's going to know the answer to this one.
Was it me again? Oh, God.
It's about old people.
Well, it's just whatever happens to the sand tables of the past. It's just like...
Is it about old people?
All right, then. Well, all right.
Yes,
if it makes you feel better, we'll go around to everybody else first. Steve, what's your input on this one? Whatever happened to the sand tables of the past? Right, Ken?
What the fuck does he mean?
Right. I know.
If I realised this was coming, I could have found the pictures I've got of old sand tables.
I know what he means, but I don't have any example to go on, so I'm going to defer to Dom.
So for those who don't know what sand tables are, there was a trend. I don't know when it was actually. Was it the 70s, something like that? But early days of wargaming, where people would actually make tables. Like a sand tray, and so they'd model all the hills and all the valleys with sand, and it was a real thing that people got into in a big way. But I think the problem with it was bloody heavy. When you got a 6 foot table filled with sand about foot deep, that's a lot of weight to be carrying around, plus all the lead figures on top because they were proper metal, none of your rubbish plastic in those days. Plus, I'm not sure it's overly that clever, but it was a thing. It was definitely a thing. But I don't know. I don't know whether I don't know that you could say what happened to it because it was just an era thing. So
what happens if you shut water over it?
Well, then it would just absorb it, wouldn't it? It wasn't very good for your rivers, that's for sure. But yeah,
it just weighs even more.
Wouldn't it keep changing? I mean, imagine just moving some figures and putting your elbow down onto a hip.
Yeah, I would imagine so. To be absolutely, I never played on one, so I couldn't honestly tell you. But I used to see them in the Wargaming magazines and books, and Don Featherston, I think Alex just said, that sort of era. It was a long time ago, but it was a thing, and people did it, and it was.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, I think the practicalities of it were zero because most people don't have a permanent setup, so they bring it out. The idea of bringing out a table, filling up with sand, and then playing with it is kind of a bit, unless your kids are there. But I think, which is why we always use a cloth. I think the first things I remember, gaming-wise, like that, was using a Subutio cloth.
Upside down.
Same here.
Yeah, upside down, and then you put your books underneath it for the hills, and
Do you know what that is, Kate?
What?
Subutio.
Yeah, football thing.
All right.
Yeah, I know what Subutio was. I played it. Yeah.
Have you ever had to join? I played a game. I can't for the life of me remember what it's called, but effectively it's Subutio, but it was like a dungeon crawler. So you would have your it was all using counters, and you had the board out, and you'd populate it with monsters. And say you were an archer. You would have your disc, your little hockey puck kind of thing, and you would put these other tiny little discs around it, and those would be your arrows, and you would then flick the arrows down there, and if you hit an enemy, then that did a hit points worth of damage to it, and if it pinged back and hit your mate, then he took some damage to it. I really loved it. My friend who I was playing hated it. He hated it viciously because he was crap. Because he would flick it so hard, he kind of didn't understand the subject, flick, just try to. I'm going to stop talking about flicking. So Benjamin, I think he's got his bad hobby habit. He's going to try to kick this year, not going to CrackCon. We need to get on top of that, don't we? So
shit, yeah, I forgot about that.
That's something. Yeah, that's the other thing. Well, I mean, the thing is, if we can't sort of venue, there's always Dom's shed. Have you decided on a name for it yet, Dom?
Say again, sorry?
Have you decided on the name for your shed yet? Because I just said it could be the alternative venue for CrackCon if the normal one falls through.
I think it's going to be Boots HQ. That seemed to be the favourite from everybody who voted.
It's not bad at one.
That's good.
HQ. Yeah. It's really tough. I asked everybody's opinion, and I had about 40, 45, 46 suggestions. And I have to say, at least half of them were pretty damn good. So it made it even harder. So then I had to think on it for a bit. But I think, Boots HQ.
Miller's giving out English Civil War lessons, I think, in the chat. Okay, I'm scrolling through. We've got a fingers crossed. We've got a game at the end of February, so we're finally going to. I'm going to get my ECW stuff on.
I was trying to find some sandboxes, but I can't find them. Sorry, but anyway, there you go. Look them up. You'll find them.
Okay then, right up next is so James Cutts says, with Firelock releasing their new Victorian colonial era game, what conflicts would you like to see covered in this era that might not already be? So this will be in the news section actually, but Firelock Games, who make Blood and Plunder and Blood and Valor, have put up basically a teaser that they're going to be doing sort of a Zulu War late Victorian supplement. So obviously there's lots of little wars going on at that period, but is there something that you think that needs to be covered that doesn't maybe get enough love at that time? What do you reckon, chaps? I'm not a huge. I don't know a great deal about it. I know about the Afghan War and the Zulu War, and that's about it.
I'm going to go because I mentioned when we did that series about films we loved. I love 55 Days in Peking, which was the Boxer Rebellion, which is that. I suppose that would probably be covered within that Firelock series. So that would be one I'd love to do because I just love that film. So and all the different nationalities you can have. You can have the French, you can have Germans, you can have Japanese. Obviously the Brits and Prussians and Russians, and then obviously the Chinese as well. So I think that'd be great. Love that. That'll get my money.
We're talking about that period of time, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's
So you're talking Zulus through to
what's the Boer War then?
Boer War would be in that period.
Yeah, that'd be that period. Yeah.
I was gonna say that you don't often see that gamed. It's I don't know, really don't.
I think that'd be interesting because it's probable that one of the Muskets and Tomahawks series will cover that as a period as well. So
do you think there'll be an all-encompassing one, like, because it won't, the Zulu War supplement, I was wondering if there would be enough stuff in there to warrant an entire supplement. So you know how like the French Indian War, the American War of Independence, and the War of 1812. Do you think that period for Muskets and Tomahawks will be the Afghan War, the Zulu War, and the Boer War?
I think it should do. Whether or not they get greedy, I don't know. But and try and do two, or whether the period's big enough, because the period's probably not big enough, is it, as it stands, to do multiple books on it. So maybe just I don't know.
I'm obviously speaking from a point of ignorance here, but is the British Army that different between all three of those wars?
The uniform changes.
The uniform changes, but are
the doctrine isn't no.
No, the doctrine's pretty much the same, and the weaponry's not that significantly different. That's what I was thinking. The and sort of the opponents are very much of a muchness. You've either got guys with swords and spears, or very early muskets, and then sort of ranging up towards some decent rifles and stuff later on.
Yeah. What was it Blackadder says? The type of people we like to fight with 3 feet tall and armed with dry grass.
That's the ones, yeah.
Under no circumstances should they have guns.
Never it was a viciously sharp piece of, was it pineapple? No, guava mango.
Guava mango or something like
mango, yeah. Oh, no. So, yeah, I mean, I think it'd be good, but I would imagine that their focus is going to be Zulu.
It's got to be, because that's the one that will grab everyone's attention, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I will be looking at that with interest.
Beauty of that period generally, though, it'll be relatively easy to modify the rules to play pretty much any of those colonial periods, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
really?
Yeah. I think
there isn't.
I think you're right. Shaker says a sandpit for grown men rather than kids. Rangers. He said sand tables come from the military. Because I know he's.
It's probably entirely right, Rangers. Yeah.
Used in mission operational planning and rehearsals, and in fact, I vaguely remember. I think obviously mine, if it's good, is going to be from documentaries and films. But I think I vaguely remember seeing something like that in there. But no, that is. I do remember. I can't remember what. I say I do remember, and then I can't remember, but I do vaguely remember a program on the telly, not like Time Team, but like some other kind of, like maybe it was Time Watch, where they would do that. And they would create sort of a 3D sort of model, and I sat there all the time, and I thought, they can't be just making a full-on terrain table. That must be they're not going to go to that much effort for just 5 seconds of film. Surely not.
They do. Some of those films, they blooming put a lot of effort in on them, don't they?
No, that's it. Right then. What we'll do, I think if we do a couple more questions, then maybe we'll go and do some news. Do a few more questions. So where are we here? Tony Phillips. Now we've answered this one before, but because we've all done new projects, maybe the answers have changed. So he says, if you could go back to any battle in history as an unseen observer, and which battle would it be? Ken, what about you? I believe you originally I think originally it was a World War II one you wanted to watch.
Yeah.
I could be mistaken. What about now?
Ooh, probably the Battle of Britain.
Okay. Yeah. No, that would be All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Because obviously I love planes anyway, but just seeing Spitfires and Messerschmitts and Hurricanes going at it would be quite interesting. I think it's something you're never going to see again, is it?
Right, fair enough. What, Steve? What about you? What battle? Because you've started a few new periods. Obviously, I know. I think you may have said. I can't remember. I think you may have said Battle of the Bulge or something like that. I can't.
To be fair, I was trying to think what I said last time. And do you know what I think it would be now, having done a bit of research and watched a few documentaries? Bit of a strange one, but it wouldn't make for pleasant viewing. Let's put it that way. Towton.
Oh, fucking hell!
Yeah. That's a good one.
That'd be
I think that's
interesting,
what
wouldn't
I
it?
think that's
Yeah.
I think that's what I said.
Finally
last time, but
find out what
you know.
happened. if there was.
Well, we know what happened. The best king won, and and he became king for the next only about 10 years, and he got chucked away, and then he came back again. But no, it's a good question. I guess the big thing about Towton is, of course, is the numbers. Because recent research, obviously, so it's touted as the biggest battle on English soil, but recent research has kind of brought those numbers have been steadily decreasing, and those information boards have to keep on being changed. I think the original figure, or the one that's most quoted, is probably about 60,000, but I've seen people say as low as like 10,000 and stuff like that, which it may be a little bit low. I think maybe we're looking somewhere in between, but. That would be a cool. Any particular reason, or you just want to see the biggest battle?
No, it's just when you see people's paintings of it, and it's this horrible, dirty, gross morning. There's snow, and you've got people kicking the living shit out of each other in a muddy field. It just sounds absolutely horrific.
I mean, it did last a really long time, as well, for where battles go. But that's because it was it. It was a decider. They both marshaled these huge armies. See, my one is Wars of the Roses, and I think the last time I said it was Towton, but mine would be Edgecote, and that's a much smaller battle, and that's the one where the sort of Welsh under William Herbert sort of marched to take on Robin of Redesdale, which is actually effectively a rebellion supported by Warwick, and Robin of Redesdale's probably one of his henchmen.
Warwick had to be in there somewhere.
Yeah. But what I'd actually quite like to know is how the battle went down, because the Welsh were winning, and then apparently, effectively, Warwick's men showed up. They displayed their banners, and then Herbert's men basically went, "Oh no," and ran. But before the battle, there was William Herbert, who was leading the Welsh contingent. He had an argument with Devon, and Devon apparently left with all the archers. And some people have said it was over a woman. Other people have said they just didn't like each other. And then someone said it was because they were arguing about the billeting arrangements. So one of them left. So effectively, what happened was that William Herbert had to engage because he was in a defensive position, but he had no archers. Whereas all these rebels appeared and just started shooting them. So he had to move down the gate. So I'd just quite like to know, how it did go down, because there a lot. I was watching a really good interview with Mike Ingram, who passed away a few weeks ago. He's brilliant Wars of the Roses scholar, and Graham Evans as well, who's done a good book on it. And they're effectively saying if William Herbert, I know it's obviously a lot of what ifs in history, but if he hadn't have fallen in that battle, then the Yorkist presence in Wales would have actually been there. And you wouldn't have slowly had this creep back of Lancastrian power, and then effectively allowed the landings of Henry Tudor to go unopposed later on. And if you actually want to see a point where maybe things start to go a bit wrong, it would be that battle. So it's a smaller battle. I just think it's just quite an interesting one. What about you guys in the comments? We see Borodino.
For me, I'd love to, because I think last time I went.
Oh shit! I didn't ask you. Yeah, sorry.
No, it's all right. I'm going to tell you anyway, because you moved on. I think I went for some of the battles of Alexander last time, because I would love to see some of those. Would love to have a sense of what went on and how Alexander took on, massive, armies against him. But the one I've been reading a lot about, the Italian Wars, and one of the ones I would love to know more about is how the hell the Swiss did what they did, and kicked the snot out of pretty much everybody they went up against. And yet, in most of the battles, particularly the early phase of what they did, they only had pikemen and in fact, they all started off as halberdiers, and very few missile weapons, no cavalry, no guns, or very few guns and cavalry, and yet they were able to defeat the creme de la creme of the era, the French armies, and just I'd love to see how they operated. How did the halberdiers work with the pikemen when they became pike troops? How did they deal with the fact that they, had no cavalry or very limited cavalry to deal, to deal with their opponents? So it would just be fascinating to see, because I don't think anyone really knows exactly how it worked. That to me, that's
Yeah.
really interesting.
No, it's interesting. We've all kind of changed our minds, and it will ask that question next year, and it would have completed that again. It would have, it would have changed again. Let's see what some people are saying here. So Leslie said the Third Burmese War in 1885. Louis Baby says Borodino because it was apparently fought in dress uniforms. Oh, but a couple of guys in the chat want you to know, Ken, that it's Flying Legends at Duxford this weekend, which is the place just down the road from me. So it's a mass gathering of Spitfires there. So if you want to pop down, have a cup of tea.
I live on the Solent. They're always flying here. Spitfires. I love them. Love them.
Rogue Trooper says the Battle of Turnip Gorge. Simon Voyle.
Nothing to do with the old 28.
I got to give it to Simon. Actually, Simon's got one. Kursk.
Oh yes,
yeah, that'd be interesting, wouldn't it? Yeah.
I just imagine a lot of that would be quite that. Ooh, I think he might have a winner there. Leslie said the what was that? The Marshall Land Field Force 1896.
You are getting very obscure there.
I'm gonna.
Leslie's like, I will figure the most obscure war possible.
Enemy in sight. Battle of Watling Street. Good call.
Very good.
Just want to see loads of Britons just get chopped apart by Romans, and also to see if there actually was someone called Boudica, which there's a thing doing the rounds at the minute that apparently she wasn't real. I don't know. We'll see. Bill Roy says he loves the way I'm not biased. Not at all. I am not biased at all. Edward IV transcends everything because he's the best monarch we've ever had.
Fucking hell!
I don't know how I can't get to say he's everything I want in a king. Carl's joined.
Tell Charles that.
Later, what current Charles?
Yeah, current Charles. You should tell
if
him.
Edward IV appeared now, and then Charles is about to be, the coronation, and then a sort of alive young Edward IV walked in and said, "Excuse me, that's mine." I'll give it to Edward.
I bet you would.
Boy. Agincourt is another one.
Interesting.
Watling Street is a good call, and Culloden. People, I think there's been like this. Of course, there's just far too many. You just have to go on like a tour through history, and just pick one each, and then actually just go along. Bill and Ted kind of style.
That'd be great.
Battle Knights. It's the Battle of Winterfell. He still doesn't understand how the North won. You're not the only one. I don't understand how anyone saw anything in that episode because I genuinely thought there was something wrong with my TV during that episode. I really did.
Wasn't it? You couldn't see a damn thing.
I still just remember maybe it's me and this is why I lose games, but I would not line up all my cavalry outside a castle and charge the dark. Just charge the dark.
I take it this is Game of Thrones.
Yes, it is. Yes,
which I find really weird because you've not seen, have you, Steve?
Yeah, I watched 5 episodes and then just never wanted to watch it ever again in my entire life.
What? Really? I mean, I don't want to get into the ending of Game of Thrones or anything like that, but I really enjoyed the first 5, maybe 6 seasons.
No, I bought the book. I wasn't keen on it. I bought the book. It was on offer in Morrison's. It was in Morrison's one lunchtime. Bought it, and I read about the first third and put it down and thought it was some of the worst Drek I'd ever read in my life. So that went back on the shelf. And then someone said, just watch the TV program. So I watched 5 episodes and I was like, this is bad. So I turned it off and never watched it again.
You're all entitled to be wrong, Steve. You're always entitled to be wrong.
I just found as someone that grew up reading fantasy, I found it just so drab. And I don't know what it was.
That's fair enough.
Something about it just didn't grab me. I wasn't grabbed.
If you want to go off on a tangent, I'll tell you what I did start watching the other day was Barbarians. You guys see
that's
that
good.
before?
Oh yeah. The thing about the Teutoburg Forest. And
and they
Arminius.
they actually speak Latin in it. I was like, Jesus.
They speak Latin. Yeah, I quite like that. I wasn't so sure about the bit where the guy jumps off like 100-foot cliff and then survives. Just sort of like, and then get something. But no, they're making a second season now. I enjoyed that. I liked it that they were speaking Latin as well. John Carter, quite a prominent. I think it's isn't the anniversary of this in Sundwala, isn't that?
Yeah.
That's in about 5 days, isn't it? The anniversary of that, and then
true.
of course Rorke's Drift. There seems to be a lot of battles where they're not really battles; they're just massacres that people seem to want to go and watch. Which,
I think generally they're things that people want to know how the hell did it happen, and I think that's the thing, isn't it? It's the trend.
There's
there's
a really good guy on YouTube, and is it Red Coat Tours or Red Coat history or something like that, and he's done quite a lot of walks around the battlefields of the Anglo-Zulu War, and he's done his Sundwala and Rorke's Drift, but he's gone and researched all of the little battles, and because the battlefields are very unchanged, he's like found like little bits of fortifications and that, because they they're not necessarily
populated areas.
They're not populated areas. There's no sort of real conservation in place, but it's fantastic, and I had to stop watching his channel basically. It was
Magwaram would be quite cool as well. Like the size of the battle, and it's just, I think everyone would want to see a Napoleonic battle just for the pure scale of it, isn't it? Really, it's just...
Simon Voss chucked in another one with the Fall of Berlin. I'm not quite sure I'd want to watch that, but the Teutoburg Forest, he's gone on that one. But they're cool. All right then. Well, as we're, should we do the news a little bit earlier today? Because
your show, mate. You can.
Is it my? We're going to do the news a little bit earlier today. Everybody. So we do not have a news intro. So
bit of a sore point with that one.
A bit of a sore point like that, because there may have been some copyright issues. So we have no news intro. So if you could all just pretend. There we go. I muted him.
There we go.
No, there you go. If only we could have done that on the main one. So So should we get into some news, guys? What have you seen, Dom? What have you got?
Let me keep doing it when I've got paint pots open. Hang on a sec.
You always have paint pots open. You have paint pots open 18 hours of the day.
I got some random news.
Go on then.
Yeah, look at that. Ken's actually got some random news.
It's not about trains.
Well, the fact you said it's random is what is concerning.
No, it's from Warlord. So they're still doing their 50% off stuff for what's it called? The playing game.
Red Skies.
Blood Red Skies.
Doing 50% off of that. Yeah, and there's also a Q&A out with John Stallard if you're interested to know where they're taking the next Napoleonic epic release. If you want to know some more about the Prussians mine, he does a whole talk about the Prussians. So
okay, I will give it a listen. I need to, as I'm going to be at home for the next 5 days.
Yes, you are.
I think that's what you saw, wasn't it? Blood Red Skies. There's a whole load of new planes coming out.
Yeah, there's more planes. Yeah, they're still selling off some cheap stuff as well.
And they've got more. What's that? The Mystic stuff for the Incas.
Mythic America. Now, do you know? I don't know nothing about that game, but some of the models are awesome. So they are very cool.
Lots more of them coming from Warlords, so that's interesting.
All right,
I think Steve, you talked about these, didn't you? There's lots of new Italian armor coming out.
Mm-hmm. Bloody
that's an M.
Silvio like that, wouldn't he?
He will. Mind you, I think he's already got them all. But anyway, there's probably not got enough machine guns on it for Silvio.
No.
There's the M1339. Then there's this flame L6 flame tank, which is kind of cool. And then the Auto Belinda.
Now, are these resin? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I believe they're resin. Didn't you say, Steve, with metal as well?
Resin and metal kits, yeah.
Yeah. So they'll be largely resin, and then probably a few of the hatches and probably guns and what have you are going to be metal, I would imagine.
Okay.
Have you got an Italian army for bolt action?
I have. I bought the plastics, I haven't made them up yet, no. But I have got a 20mm Italian army.
No, right.
Puts on for bolt action.
Of course you do. Of course you do. wait.
Yeah.
See that 6 box in middle row down there. Yeah, there you go. There's that's his Italian campaign stuff.
Yeah, probably there. Our friends the Perrys, they did some stuff. So they got some new ACW stuff out. They're rather nice. I think they're Union Generals, and then some standard bearer jobbies. They're out. And then some of their Triple Alliance. Is it Triple Alliance? Whatever it is.
The Absolute Passion Project, you mean?
The Passion Project. They've got a load more of that stuff. But the ones I thought from that would be really interesting for adaptation. Now, you could use those, couldn't you, quite easily? They look like turnips waiting to go.
I was about to say, I could,
yeah. Or possibly...
Could you use those in... what's the thing
Cheney, maybe?
You can use them as pirates.
Can you use as silver bayonet?
Oh, yeah,
don't you need ruffians or scoundrels or something?
Yeah,
like brigands kind of thing.
They definitely work in silver bayonet. They look really good, actually. Yeah.
That's. I thought that was kind of cool. Those, and just because I want to upset Martin again. You're saying this is the March Caballeros?
I've seen them. So these are the armored levy, or just the levy, aren't they?
The unarmed levy, I think he's called it, or peasant levy. He's called them.
But the thing is he said, I'm going to be away in like February and March. He just keeps pumping out more and more because he wants the releases still going on. I mean, they are pretty cool, aren't they?
They are lovely. The animation of them is phenomenal. So yeah, that's March.
I like the guy on the extreme left. I can imagine him sort of standing behind everyone, going, "Yeah, go on, you go first." But look at that 1/3. The 1/3 from the right, he's just lobbed the the javelin.
He's just thrown the javelin, and the guy beside him is just about to sling the next one. It's just
and they've he's snuck like a Robin Hood kind of archer or something in there. Is that what that is? Is that meant to be an archer?
I think the middle lots, the middle 4 archers. You can see the
maybe he's going to
5th one from the left.
He's got a quiver.
Got quiver on the back, and all the rest look like they're supposed to be using bows.
All right. Well, there goes about 40 quid. I've just finished painting the ones that I got last time. They are very nice. I've got a long shopping list of things to get from him. Is that? Have you got anything else, or is that?
That's my lot. Yeah.
Well, we talked about it earlier, so we do because we have questions. We have many questions.
What do you reckon the Perrys would do if they find out what I'm doing to their miniatures?
That's what I want to see.
I think quite fascinated.
I think they'd be fascinated, but in the way that like they'd look at you like you were a museum exhibit. Fascinated. like they would be. I think they'd be perplexed and amused, and hopefully not offended. I think they'd be cool because, of course, you are. I think that they're all into sculpting and changing things. Of course, they've sculpted.
They love it, don't they?
Stuff.
Yeah.
They want to know why all their the sales of their individual sprues are going up. It's probably because of you. Why is this person bought an Agincourt sprue and a Prussian Franco-Prussian war sprue and a 9-pounder at the same time? So we talked about it earlier, but yes, Fireforge Games have announced Blood and Steel Victorian Age combat from 1837 to 1901. I still have not played Blood and Plunder. I'm hoping that James is going to be bringing it to CrackCon 2. Well, part of me hopes he's bringing it, and the other part of me really hopes he isn't. The part of me that hopes he isn't is where I keep my money. So it'll be interesting. So that'll be good to see. One for the Necromunda fans. I know I've seen quite a surge in. Quite a few of my friends have been talking about Necromunda, and Steve, I know you want it, but they've just got some new releases in. These are Hive Scum, which are quite cool. There's another guy, but for some reason it wouldn't let me download the photo. But there's
because Games Workshop starting to put thingies on their pictures now, so you can't have them. Do you know what I mean?
Right. Okay. This will probably get demonetized then quite quickly. There's like a big guy like chopping fish. I can't remember what he was called. Is he Slopper or Scrap? I can't remember. But there was just like a fishmonger for the Underhive. I thought he looked. Pretty pretty
I
cool.
know what you mean. I've seen it. He does look pretty good.
Yeah, no, it's there's some nice stuff in Necromunda. Steve, you got any more Necromunda yet?
No, I'm still working on those Escher. I'm really taking my time over them. But it's something me and my mate have talked about because we've still got our old Necromunda gangs. But the thing is, though, it's just such a great game. It really is just such a great game.
See, again, I'm a bit scared to play it again because I think I've just spend a
You'll
lot of
enjoy
money.
it too much, yeah.
That's it. Another one. So these are some models from a company I've never heard of before, but I saw them on Facebook, and then I saw them on a couple of. I think I saw them on Tabletop, and I saw them on another mini news website, and that's White Dragon miniatures, and these are some modern Russians, and I just thought they looked really cool. But I know you were talking about maybe some modern stuff, Ken.
Yes, mate. Yeah.
So this might
Americans,
be a
they look American or Russian.
they're Russian. They're Russians.
That's a bit sore at the minute. That shit's kicking off again, isn't it? So.
Yeah. Maybe rather topical for the current situation. But yeah, if anyone's interested, so White Dragon miniatures. If you maybe want to have a look at some Modern Warfare stuff. One that we picked up, North Stars Grenadiers, the Moscow retreat.
They
French
look brilliant,
Grenadiers.
don't they?
Those bear skins look awesome, don't they?
They are so cool. I really like North Star miniatures. They're quite chunky. They've got a good weight to them, but I really do like them. And also, the muskets are quite big. And for some reason, I quite like that. To begin with, when I was painting them for the French Indian War, I thought they were really disproportionate. But then I really like it because I'm actually able to pick out those all the details on the gun.
Exactly. You can just get you can get right into them, can't you? And get them. I like them. I think exactly.
Yeah. No, they're I think they look very, very cool. Another game that I really like, and I'm gonna have to do some content for soon, and I'm slowly hoping that Steve is going to buy into, is Bushido has released a brand new wave. Now I think they've released about 10 new sculpts across their each faction basically gets a new sculpt each wave. But I picked out my two favorite. So there's this guy who is for the sort of samurai snake faction. These will all be metal. But that is a very good. They're all very, very good at picking out sort of very animated miniatures. I thought he looked quite cool, but this one I put on here because I thought Steve would like it.
That is just so cool.
That's just hashtag weird shit.
It really is. I mean, that's cool. I mean, but the thing is, he's got the thing going on in the background, but it's like the sleepy pig thing. I mean, is it lying on vegetables? Is it lying on veg? I think it is.
I think it is. There are vegetables though. Quick Steve and vegetables.
You could put that on your shrine. You could have like the turnip thing, and then like a pig wallowing in it. But but no, another very, very good game. And then
just really cool.
And then something which may get me to do some World War II. Now, I showed this to the guys before the stream. I know Dom's not a fan of this, but I played this game a lot until they switched editions. But the mid-war starters are coming out for Flames of War, and they have got a couple of starters coming out, including this one, which is the Tobruk start set. So you have your Italian and your British, and I think that looks really, really cool for a nice North African starter set. Yeah, a lot of tanks in it.
That looks really nice. That really does look nice.
I know that could do it, because I enjoyed Flames of War a lot. And like I said, the only reason I stopped playing it was because when they changed editions, they pushed all my stuff to do with late war, and then they changed editions, and then they didn't release any supporting material for the late war. They just kind of did mid war and released a few bits and bobs to keep you going, and then I was like, well, bugger you then, I'm not gonna play. And then it changed again, so this might be the thing to get me back into it. But it was a game of love. I've got a whole Panzer Grenadier army which has just been sitting there, which I've been actually looking at selling, but this is the thing. I was going to sell that. That's my bad hobby habit. This is what's happened. I'm going to sell.
That's why you don't sell stuff. You hold on to it because it will come round again. There you go.
Yeah, but but this looks so much better than what I've done. So if you're interested in Flames of War, there are numerous starter armies. There's a couple of starter sets, and there's the North Africa book as well. So go over and take a look. Let's see what people are saying.
I did have one more bit of news.
Oh, go on then.
Front rank are back open, aren't they?
Yes.
Yes, they are.
Yes, they are. Yeah, they are.
Yep, through Gripping Beast.
Yep.
Yes.
So you can buy your front rank stuff if you wish. Yeah.
Yes.
Which is great news. It's good to see that. I mean, we knew it was going to happen, but it seemed to take forever.
It was a while, wasn't it?
Yeah, it did.
What happens when you buy something?
I was going to say, it's just like you should know from buying a house.
Front rank have been completed their purchase before I've even done mine.
Got one from Kaiser. Dear Lord, I'm looking at Dom's boot cupboard and thinking, gosh, he's filled that up with crap quickly enough. I think that crap is years of wargaming.
That's not crap. That's my fine collection, Kaiser. No, it's. I said before, it's been. I'm having a bit of a sort through, so that's why it's particularly messy at the moment. It's not always like that.
Simon has said, is there any Blood Bowl news? Not that I had seen, but I didn't go deep into any sort of GW.
No,
I just happened to see the Necromunda stuff.
What tends to happen is that Forge World tend to do more Blood Bowl stuff, and they do a couple of special characters. But I need to get back to painting Blood Bowl. I need to play it again. Still haven't painted those orcs.
Still, I thought you were okay. All right, okay. John Carter says he's got the Taliban from White Dragon, and they're all really good sculpts. And Carl says as well. He says he loves the White Dragon figures. So Ken, if you're looking for that modern project, it might be something to go and have a look at.
Yeah, definitely, man.
Leslie says Hayley will be there to help you make your purchases, Martin. I'm sure she will. Tutting, but she'll only care though if it's something that I'm going to buy. If it's something that I'll buy that ends up being used in an army that
she'll be well happy.
Oh, don't even get me started on that because she. We'll come on to that when she's painted some. And then we'll see what happens. Modding for Advantage says, "Yep, North Africa World War II, simple system, a lot like Bolt Action. I really like Flames of War. I've still got I've got loads of Bolt Action, bloody Bolt Action, Flames of War. I've got loads of dice and templates. So as long as they haven't changed those, then from second edition or first edition, then I'll be laughing really. Right then, let's have a look at another question, and Ken hasn't answered one first, so let's
just quickly. Have you got someone's question at a certain time? You get it?
Yeah.
Got that. Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
wicked, cool. Happy days.
And as you've done it, should I just do it now?
You might as well.
So Peter has come back with his little question, and he has said, "What period of history do the panelists think will become the rising star of 2022?" Ken,
he's so good, isn't he? He's so good at these questions.
What question do you think? What do you think, Ken? What do you think is going to be the rising star for 2022?
What do I think? What's going to be the best?
Rising Star means new. What's going to be the new bit? Rising Star is something that's, like effectively coming up and it's going to be big.
Something that hasn't been particularly big before, but might be a bit of a trendy thing that people go for.
Probably maybe Vietnam.
Okay.
Yes, because Rubicon are going to be releasing their plastic range this year. Yeah. Someone's going to have to take custody of my wallet when that range comes out, because having seen the preview so far, it's looking fantastic. It's going to be so good.
I won't be watching Platoon though. Oh.
We need to get that guy from Gringo 40 on, because he
definitely
has done some amazing.
Oh, you nearly cracked, didn't you, on that stuff at Salute? You were so close.
It's not a period I want to play or even really played, but I was looking at his tanks and they were just absolutely amazing vehicles.
I could do me some of that sort of thing, Dom, yeah?
Yeah, that's what I thought. But then I thought, well, what's the point of just buying one tank?
You could buy a whole army.
Exactly, for the same price. It's really good.
Oh, Luke, I said it. I did it in like the first couple of minutes, mate. So there we go. I've got it here. I've even got a post-it note here with it written. So I actually remembered. But okay, so you go with Vietnam. Dom, what do you reckon?
I think Vietnam's a really good shout. I hadn't even thought about that one, so I think that's a good shout. But we talked about it earlier. I think colonials. I think that could well get a big spurt. I mean, not only have you got the rule system you were just talking about, but say Shakos at some point. You've got warlords have done their big packs, haven't they? Just at the moment. So I think that could be quite good, quite big. What was the other one I talked about? Oh, First World War. I think that's another one. I think that's been bubbling around, and there's some lovely models out there doing First World War at the moment. And Empress Miniatures, for instance, did some amazing models for that period. I think that could also be another one that could become bigger than it is in terms of a wargaming period.
Okay,
my guesses.
All right, Steve, what do you reckon?
I'm going to agree with Ken. I'm going to say Vietnam, but because I'd completely forgotten about that. I think I've tried to block the Rubicon release out of my brain because I know I'm going to go a bit mad when it all comes out. But I can see that being quite popular because you don't often see many games Vietnam at 28 mil, do you?
No.
No.
There is a bolt action group.
There is, yeah.
Vietnam.
But what I'm going to say is, I think not a specific period, but I think the likes of Silver Bayonet. So it's historical, and there's very few miniatures involved. I think that's going to be a big thing moving forward. So there'll be like other periods throughout history where you've got 5 or 6 figures on each side. So you've got a lot of historical flavour, possibly elements of fantasy, but it's going to be quick to get into. You spend a couple of days painting up a warband, and you're on the gaming table and playing. I think
it's a natural extension, isn't it, to the sort of trend of skirmish games, and it sort of takes it to people who like fantasy stuff. So I think it's
the way I was looking at it. So you've got your massive, great big games like Black Powder. Then underneath that, you've got Sharp Practice, which is smaller, skirmish level, but still quite a few troops. Then underneath that, you're going to have the skirmish level, the small firefights, the really really small amount of people. I mean, you could have a AWR, you could have a musket firefight outside a farmhouse, or something like that. So I think they're going to be historically based, but the figure count is going to be a lot lower than what historical.
Do you reckon like RPGs? More RPGs?
What historical ones?
Yeah,
I think there might, after, because Silver Bayonet and Frostgrave and all these things have that slight RPG element to them, but effectively, because you have the ongoing campaign, but they're each becoming increasingly, I think there's like a little bit more of those, character elements in there. That could be something, something to see. No, it could be. Yeah. I mean, it's something that can pretty much be introduced to any period, and lots of games have been trying to do it. I mean, SPQR has a system for it, doesn't it? I just saw Dom shudder. And it's cold. Is it cold in there? But no, that's cool. I mean, my
person just walked over my grave.
I would say I agree with Dom. I think the colonial period or World War One, because I was looking at that Blood and Valor game that Firelock Games make, and that's the one that I keep on talking to Ken about, saying you can just go buy one box of miniatures, and it's got a lot of flavor into it, and I've heard good things about it. It's just I haven't seen many games being played.
Was that the one? I think last year Becca's painted up some World War One Germans. Was that for that game?
I think so. Yes, it was. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was.
They were lovely.
You can, because they've got special characters, like 2 special characters for each nation, and they've got the different theaters. So I think the ones for the Germans, I think you can get I've forgotten his bloody name. You can have like young Rommel and a couple of others, but I know for the British it's Lawrence for Arabia and Tolkien.
Brilliant.
Which I just thought was but there's quite a lot. So that's a system. So I think maybe World War One, could be something.
It's a period that's always sort of waiting for something to make it really explode as a gaming period. I think people will always put off because trench warfare is a bit boring and what have you. But the sort of, again, I think the trend for skirmish games and that sort of thing is right up its street. So you can you can manage to play it a lot easier than maybe before.
A good shout from Battle Knights, though. If you get the release of the Old World at the end of the year, that'll be big. If the GW do release the Old World fantasy.
Is that this year?
Yeah.
It could be, the end of 2022, yeah.
Bloody hell. Yeah, I think.
So,
yeah, good. That's a good shout, actually.
No, that's it. And then Peter, I know, yes, he said Peter's was reckoning the AWI, so the Rangers and Skirmish from AWI. So I think that's it's a good shout. But the thing is, again, there's just so many things. I mean, something which I didn't post it up in the news. I meant to talk about. Of course, Great Escape Games have put together another starter set, haven't they, for Dead Man's Hand?
Oh yeah,
which is even better value. And as Warren said, unless you're living a long way away in a different country, for 35 quid, you're getting 50. You get 15 of the plastic cowboys, so free sprues of cowboys to make up. You get the rule book, you get the tokens, you get all stuff for 35 quid. That's really good. That's really good value. So I really is this. I mean, it's getting more and more popular all the time. Those starter sets that they released, you had the starter set that you bought, Dom, and then obviously with the release of the plastic cowboys, they've got another set out in March and another set later in the year. Maybe Westerns. Maybe that's going to be a thing. Maybe that's going to sort of push through. They can start releasing some more stuff.
I think
Westerns, is that not historical gaming or?
I nearly said it. I'm just concentrating at the minute. But yes.
Storm of Steel says he's been pushing World War I on his channel, and trench warfare is the most interesting part of it.
It's not really a period, is it, Westerns? Let's be honest.
I thought he was about to say World War One. Then I was going to just boot it. That's it. Oh, I think Dom, you've said much more to World War One than trenches. World War One has a lot more to it than trenches.
That's exactly what I was making the point of. I think, there is a lot more to it. But I think that traditionally, when you played old war games, it was big battles or reasonably large battles. And then, apart from the sort of very early period of the war and some of the colonial conflict, some of the battles in Africa in the First World War were fascinating. Some amazing battles there would be brilliant to refight. So no, I'm not belittling it at all, Mr. Little, at all. I think it's a fascinating period, but I don't think it ever really got the attention it deserves. What I'm trying to say.
Maybe it's time. Time.
That's my feeling.
Carl says he's resisted so far. Dead Man's Hand. Just get it. 35 quid.
It's brilliant.
And those plastic gunfighters are without. I even put this on Twitter a couple of weeks back. They, for me, were the plastic kit of 2021. I absolutely loved that kit. It was so good.
This is just reminded me because I was just about to talk about the money, but this will upset Steve more than done it more the other two because he's up north. I went out and had a couple of pints. So I bought 2 pints, a pint of Guinness, and just a lemon and lime for my friend. It was 2 pints of, I think it was Beavertown. What do you reckon that came to? So 2 pints of Beavertown, a pint of Guinness, and a lemon and lime. What do you reckon?
I'm going to say.
I want to say.
I'm going to say you didn't get much change from 20 quid.
I got less than £1 change from 20 quid. But my point was going to be that for that 2 rounds of that would have cost more, would be more money than that starter set. And the starter set is probably
that sounds cheap around here. Blimey.
Well, now I know where you live, which is next to Ascot. Then yes. Shrink 7 also says he's waiting to pull the trigger on Dead Man's Hand. Don't wait. You won't regret it. It's just great. It's,
got another game of that down the club in another week's time. Really looking forward to it. It's going to be great.
Is that against Ken?
I don't know whether Ken's going to turn up or whether he's, I've had to kill him again. Will you have moved by it in a couple of weeks' time, mate? Because I need to kill you again.
I did enjoy that video. I did enjoy that video. Good question. That is it's nice to have you, Peter's little question back. We can keep those coming, Peter. That would be
apologies, Peter. He did send that in for last week, but we just had so much we were talking about, we overran, and I didn't get a chance to ask it. So apologies, Peter.
Okay. Well, we're gonna do these ones quite quickly. So this is gonna be very quick. Now, Don Ayres has asked how. Now we've answered this, I think, on our own channels and on other podcasts. But again, we've got a lot of new viewers. Got 135 people watching. That's awesome.
Bloody hell.
So how did each of us get into historical wargaming? We'll give you 30 seconds. Steve, go.
I spent the 90s playing Games Workshop games. Then all my friends went to university and left me on my own. Then a friend of mine contacted me out the blue in 2004 and said, Flames of War, it's great. Come round to mine, have a look. I went round to his house. I thought, this is brilliant. I went to St. Helens and bought a shitload of Flames of War figures. We came back and I played.
Then he written a book.
And I used to write for them. Yay!
Right.
Gosh.
Ken, go.
It was like 10. Mum bought me some epic stuff. Then met Gumbo Liam at work. And he went, you like Warhammer? I went, yeah. And I invited myself round his house. And then played historicals after that. And then met Dom. And yeah, the rest is history. Then I met you two.
And everyone's lives got infinitely more
Look,
complicated.
five people left when I started.
Five people left when you started that. It was a cold and stormy night in Southampton. Oh, got Dom. This should be interesting.
Oh God! I tried to do this in 4 minutes on Alex's podcast and got
and you
after I got nowhere near it. So okay, the abbreviated version is I always played, as far as I can remember, played toy soldiers with the old early Airfix plastic stuff as a boy, but I really fell in love with proper wargaming when I went to big school, and a friend of mine there, his dad was into Napoleonics and had an entire 15mm Confederation of the Rhine army modeled down to every single company and regiment and squadron that they had in the I think it was 18. There was a particular period, I can't even remember, it's so long ago, and I just walked in and went, I want that, I want to do that. And that was the start of my journey. And that was a long time ago. I was probably about 15, so that long ago.
Okay.
And that was the start of my journey, basically.
So it's never stopped.
And it's never stopped. Well, it has actually stopped twice, actually, through university, family, all that kind of stuff. But it's each time restarted with a vengeance.
Okay. Well, as for me, I got into Warhammer in the early 90s and then played until I went to university and other things became a lot more important. And then I came back and one of my little cousins was getting into it. And I had a look at some of his new White Dwarfs and went, oh, those Bretonians look nice. It's really nice they're supporting that range. So I bought loads and loads of Bretonians and then they never got updated. So I got back into it in about the early 2000s. Picked up the Flames of War starter because I was in a different hobby shop, and then I started doing historicals. Won the Waterloo box set from Warlord Games, so that's how I got into doing Napoleonics, because even though I wanted to do it, I didn't want to drop loads of money and paint all those models, so I won them, which made life a lot easier. And then it just went from there. So there we go. That's how I got into historical wargaming, and now I play historicals more than anything else. So there we go. A couple of questions in the chat, which I've now just completely scrolled past. Studios, Sufu Garu says, how does Dead Man's Hand compare to Legends of the Old West from Warhammer Historicals? I've played both. Dead Man's Hand's a lot more
cinematic
TV showy kind of. You get free small games of Dead Man's Hand has this very cinematic feel to it. It doesn't get bogged down at all. But to be fair, Legends of the Old West didn't either. But whereas you probably have one, well, when I played Legends of the Old West, you'd have, say, one game in an evening, and it'd be a good game. You're going to get free. You'll have these small games that slowly escalate in Dead Man's Hand, and you get this like little story. So they're both good games, but my preference would be for Dead Man's Hand. I don't know about you guys, if you guys played.
I haven't played the other one, although I've got the rules. But I think one thing I would say with Dead Man's Hand is that it's very hard to take it serious because it is just fun. It's just fun.
You can't get angry at Dead Man's Hand.
It's very hard to get angry because it's just, when you've got a figure leaping from one building to another and then gunning somebody down or rushing straight up to them, trying to blow them away and missing them from 2 foot away. you can't take it seriously, and that's what I liked about it. It was just a breath of fresh air, something different.
It's cool. Storm Steel said Ken's podcast. He's asking what, not this Ken.
Oh, for Dom.
Dom.
No, it's Ken's podcast is the Yorkshire Gaming. Yorkshire Gaming's big.
To be fair, is that episode out yet? Because I want to listen to that.
I don't know that it is yet. No, I don't think it is yet.
He put something out saying it's been delayed because of I think he's got work or something. Yeah.
It's a shame. It's great. I really enjoyed it.
We had a great time, didn't we? Both me and Ken were on it, and we had a right old laugh.
It was really good. He invited the best two.
Yeah, obviously.
Of course he did. Of course he did. No, it's absolutely fine. You go fly that flag for the PCP. you go to. Well, hopefully there should be some other things coming up soon for the PCP. Some other stuff that should be happening, which we'll chat about potentially next week. But okay, so that was that one. So now Harry has said, how do you plan projects and what is your philosophy towards collecting? How do you pick what periods to buy into and what to pass over? Shall I kick this one off? Because, of course, I just had to go through it.
Out next Friday. There you go.
Anyway.
Sorry, I lost your question. There you go.
That's all right. I think the first thing is if there's an interesting period, I want to see if there's a decent figure range supporting it, and not just a few nice sculpts. And if it's going to be a small project, like I'm going to do a small skirmish game, then fine, a few things will be good. But I don't, as much as I may want to do for example, a big World War, maybe I want to do a mass battle World War I project. I want to, now before War Games Atlantic, were there really any plastics for World War One? I'm not sure.
No.
So
I mean, maybe,
so that would be the first thing I'd look at, is how easy is it going to be for me to get hold of stuff. I'm not afraid of waiting for things to come from other countries or to do some research, but I don't want to just be really, really struggling to find stuff. So that would be my main thing, is just the availability of the stuff for that period. I have not started projects because there isn't a big enough range, in my opinion. So I don't know. What about you, Steve?
With his bolt action, it normally comes about through reading one of the books, and I'll find it as theatre select. Ooh, that could be rather cool. And then I think about how I can get kit bashing into it and what it's going to look like at the end. I never, ever, ever give a thought about how something's going to play on the tabletop. It's always, am I going to enjoy painting and building and kit bashing? And I don't care how it performs on the tabletop. And sometimes it comes about through reading a book as well. So if I'm reading a history book about World War II, be a particular battle, a particular regiment or unit. No, for me though, it's always, I always approach it from the creative aspect rather than the gaming aspect. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay, that's cool. Ken, what about you? How would you decide what projects to pass over?
It's got to be cool, isn't it? So
yes,
for me, you got to enjoy it at the time. So that's pretty much it, really. If I like the sound of it, I like the history, and if there's a decent miniature range, like you said, if there's not, then I'll have to pass it.
And what if there is a decent miniature range, but it's on a website that isn't up to date?
We don't buy
it. we don't. Have you? Can I ask you a question? And we won't name the website if we don't want to. But have you sent them like an email or anything saying, please do this"? I bet.
No, I did email them and said, how can I pay via PayPal? And they went, we don't do it like that. And I didn't reply because I was just like, no. I want convenience. I don't want to have to keep waiting for my miniatures. It just annoys me. You're relying on somebody else to send you a form to then reply. I'm like, no, I want to buy them now and I want them here tomorrow. Thank you.
So I can sell them next week.
Exactly. He's got to have them in his hand for a good length of time because they're going to be out fairly quickly.
Oh yeah. No, that's it. You got to look at them longingly for a while before you go, nah. No, I know that thing as well because I've got I have a 6mm Samurai Army which is going to be going So because I have nothing but hatred for it. I'm never going to use it. Any ideas that I had to play in that game, Dom, have gone.
I'm with you, mate. I have to say, I'm with you. Sadly,
absolutely. And I don't think I think I'll do 6 mil again at some point, but it won't be that. It won't be that. I think it was just the, I think they're nice figures. I didn't enjoy the process, and every time I look at them, I'm just going to think about that. So I'm just have to get shot. Steve Yorkshire says he'll have us on later in the year if we're up for it. So we'll go on and then we'll tell the truth about what it's like doing the podcast when the camera stops rolling.
Well, it'd be like some sort of cutting expose.
Yeah, there'll be some leaks. Yeah, it's the. Would. But Dom, what about you? How do you plan? Is there something that would stop you dead from doing a project, even if it was something you were really passionate about?
So it used to be. So I definitely it's changed for me since the lockdowns, I think. So I've mentioned many times I always was driven by the gaming. So generally what drove me to take, I'd like Steve, like all of you guys, I read a lot of stuff, I'd watch a lot of films, even going to places, different countries or what have you, would get me addicted to it or really fascinated. But I think the difference since lockdown is I will actually consider going into a project when there isn't necessarily an opponent in the club that I'm going to play against, just because I think it's a really interesting period to do. So whereas in the past I'd just read about it, I'd look at the figures and think about it maybe for the future, but wouldn't actually go past that. Whereas this time, like the Italian wars I'm going to start, I don't know whether I'll ever, have anybody to play against, but I'm going to.
You will if you have two armies.
That's what I'm doing now. So it costs a lot more money to do it that way. But yeah, so whereas in the past I'd probably just read about it and drool over, all the figures, Ken's figures out there and what have you, and what Steve's done. So yeah, that's it.
That's been some fairly sensible answers to the questions tonight. So I've got one last one, and then we can have a look at what people have sent in for us this week. So I combined here. So Paul and Carl kind of had a similar question, and then I've kind of molded it together. But he said, so what would you say is the best part of the hobby for each of you? Which is the most important? So I guess that comes down to like painting, collecting, research, gaming. So as you're still sort of that, Dom, what do you reckon? If you have to pick one, what is the most important part of the hobby for you? Because I know
gaming. The gaming is always for me. To me, I love this. The banter you have around the table, the laugh you have with your mates, the ongoing, kind of poking fun at each other and then poking fun at you. I just think that for me is what I love about the whole hobby. Generally, the rest of it is, kind of it builds up to that. Although so I think I have become more of a collector for sure. But it is the gaming. That's what gets me excited.
Okay. Steve, what about you? What gets you excited?
The modelling.
Apart from turnips.
No, it's
doesn't have to be turnips, just any vegetable.
Any vegetable, yeah. No, for me it's the painting and the modelling. If anyone follows me on Twitter, I often put stuff like what I'm working on. But it'll always be what metal album I'm listening to and what I'm drinking. Yeah. So normally coffee, metal, and what I'm working on. So that for me is a really nice night. If I just put some decent music on, I've got a nice big cup of steaming hot coffee, and I've got something I can lose myself in for 2 or 3 hours. That for me is the hobby.
Nice. That's pretty cool. All right then. And Ken, what about you?
Gaming. What's the really?
Gaming.
Yeah. I like rolling dice and being social with it. Then it's probably the modelling afterwards and painting and all that.
Okay. See, I think I would have used to say the gaming, but the doing the Wars of the Roses has really, really pushed my modelling sort of appetite, if you like. I really have enjoyed doing all, trying to model and bring little stories to life on the basis. But then, as you say, ultimately, it isn't anything without the gaming, which is why you have to make enough for 2 armies so you can play solo if you don't have anyone to play with. Exactly. So I think at the moment, in lockdown, until I got Haley to play, the modelling became a lot more important because gaming obviously wasn't happening. So you had to get a lot more joy out of your modelling and your painting because obviously gaming weren't happening. But no, certainly I think overall I'd probably have to actually think about it. Say it's got to be the gaming, because what's the point in modelling something if these a huge army if
you're not going to play with it?
Well, it's not really you're not going to play it, but if you don't enjoy playing with it, that would just drive me nuts. So although something that I am enjoying doing is now starting to look at rules and stuff like that and developing things to do with that. I've got unfortunately Christmas there was a lot of scribbling going on for lots of various things, so that'll be something to look at. But thank you very much to everybody who sent in a question. I know there were a few others, like I think one of the ones was, what is Ken going to sell first? But that's I think we covered that. But thank you very much for sending those in. I think it's about time we had a look at what's been going on the Facebook group. Now, there were 165 posts in the last 6 days. Right? Yeah, wow. I found out how to actually do things now on Facebook, because I was looking through it for some reason. So I found out how to do this. We had 165 separate. So if I haven't included it, it's not because we don't like it, but there is just so many. So these are the ones that I picked out, and I deliberately didn't just do like the ones that were like posted in the last 48 hours. Although obviously there are some that were posted in the last 48 hours. So we shall start at the beginning, and Andy Parfit has shown off. Now these are 15 mil, and I think he said he's Mycenaean, but these are
great, aren't they? 15 mil are they? Wow,
yeah,
they're brilliant.
Yeah. He said obviously it's still metal, and I think he said they can be a bit of a bugger to get hold of, but they are nice. They are very, very nice.
Yeah, very nice.
So that's very cool. Corey has he's got some Old Glory Wars of the Roses stuff going on. So, and they do look very, very cool. I really like what he's done with the sort of like the buff coat kind of armor. It's really, really nice.
Really good.
And it's just lovely to see more Billman. Barry. Now, obviously, if I know lots of people put on multiple photos, so I always try to pick one, or the one that I like. But you got to love some berserkers. Even you, Ken, you've got to love some Viking berserkers.
Yeah, maybe, just maybe. I like the bases; they're really nice, especially one on the second left. I really like what he's done with the stones there.
I really like the skin. There's a lot of skin there to
yes.
Paint.
If you don't like doing flesh, then you're a bit.
Berserkers, that's for sure. Lovely job. Oh, blimey. You're dying there.
It's getting worse, mine.
I know. It's going to happen. Next day or two.
I think it has, mate. I'm not going to lie.
I think it's going to happen. Yeah. I think you're already there.
Yeah.
Oh, dear. Oh, no. Well, I won't be going anywhere for a while, will I? The next thing is Daniel. I've lost my train of thought now. I think were these Dacians.
They look like the Sarmatians or something
Sarmatians,
like
that.
Beautiful colour palette.
Very
lovely. Those colours are just so good.
Yeah, really nice.
But really, really nice. Big bases. That's what we what we like. Big bases. To move to
someone
to
clip
move
that,
around.
please.
All right. That's what we like. What else have we got? So let me say, it doesn't just have to be pictures of your painting miniatures. If you're having battles, then post them up. And I saw that our friend Drew had a game. So he had some friends over, and they played some his first game of Black Powder since CrackCon, I believe. Nice. But carrying on with his sort of tradition from CrackCon, he controlled the British and lost. So it's good to know it's not just me.
Were either of you two umpiring by any chance?
No, he didn't need me to umpire for that. He's the one who made the 95th Rifles just walk off the board. I just had them charge into certain death when I played Ken. When for Drew, they just walked off.
Yeah, they just said nah.
I can't actually remember now. Was it Drew? Yeah, it was Drew, wasn't it?
Sharp had someone in town he wanted to go and visit. I think
He wanted to go and pay a visit to.
Yes.
But no, it looks very cool. So it's always nice to see, especially as people have been putting up like the models that they're painting. If you've then having a battle report with them, chuck us the the pictures.
See them in action.
Again, it's all for the game. Harry, now he's done. These are Claymore castings. He's done the 100 Years War, and every time I see these minis, I love these. They're so dynamic. They are very, very cool.
Claymore are some of the best medievals I think you can get.
Steve Harbour. Don't remind me about the crack code game.
It was for a moment there. See, that was me just getting the better of myself, Drew. I was like, oh, hang on, if I just maligned him, I can't. But no, it was you, because James was the overall commander on the winning side. But yes, it was you that got the 95th rifles to leave.
The correct side. The correct side.
The side that you weren't at all in favour of. Ken's hobby resolution for this year: don't be biased.
Yeah.
But no, cracking stuff. I really like the livery on these guys, and the white stands out. Lovely. Don's in Gravies. I've just seen you in chat. He's done some ancient Indians and with some Nellies.
Love it.
We do love a Nelly.
Like some Nelly. I think they look like new line design miniatures. They look very nice. Very good.
Oh, very, very cool. Don't
They
see a
will
lot
be
of
metal.
They're very nice. They are very nice. I don't see a lot of ancient Indian. I've seen a couple pop up, but I can't remember if there's been any.
In one of the boxes back there, in fact, about 5 boxes back there's an entire 28mm Indian army, which I used to use a lot. I love it.
Of course, there is. Very nice stuff. We always do like Nelly. And then there's James Wilkinson, who of course was the opposing commander in the Big Black Powder game. That's the French one. And this is Lord Grey of Ruffin. This is for his Wars of the Roses. I've got this model. Is this a Claymore model? I've got this model, and I think it was painted. I won it from Medieval Wargamer about just over a year ago, and I think it's
a very cool
Earl of Oxford, John de Vere. But no, that is very cool, very nice,
beautiful,
clear, bold, very
his
nice.
Henry Percy was rather good as well.
Yeah,
his Henry Percy was right. Did he say he was going to be using him as his grandfather for the Welsh Rebellion, the Owen Owen Gwyndor stuff.
Yeah.
So that'd be cool. So it's very nice to see more Wars of the Roses figures. John Barrett painted this, that fish. Look at that fish. I know it's something I didn't think I'd be saying on.
It's a fishwife
on the podcast.
It's brilliant.
It is. You know, to be fair, after the other things that we say on these on this show, look at that fish is probably something that
that's fairly mild compared to some of the stuff.
Yeah.
That is very cool. I'm not entirely sure what came from, but I like the octopus in the bucket. I think that's I think that's wicked. But no, that's lovely. Really, really nice. Very nice work. Jason and Johnny B had a game, and is it the Men Who Would Be Kings? Is that the So he had some Anglo-Zulu War
Nice.
action. I recognise that hex tile. That's where Steve got mugged by a bunch
of gingerbread men.
I'm still traumatized. I can't look at gingerbread men or presents anymore.
That was really good. How did it, if you're still in the chat, guys? But how did it play? Because it's a set that I have looked at a couple of times. But very cool. Very nice to see, and I like the hex board as well. I remember someone else saying they don't see enough of them anymore, but
that's a bit old school. Nice. It's not as old school as a sand pit, but it's still old school. Like it.
And next up we have Jonathan, who decided that he needed to do some Dark Ages stuff.
Good on you.
So
it's a tad.
Now, I think those spear blocks, are they in? Sorry, do you see the blocks of infantry? Are they 3 bases wide, each of those? There's a lot of shield. That's a shield wall.
That's a proper shield wall.
That is a shield wall.
Yeah.
That is just awesome. That's what we like. Joshua, he's got his martial name.
Go back one. Look on the left-hand side. Someone's had a spillage of Agrax before, haven't they?
Okay. I've never even seen one of those before. I didn't even know that was a thing. Okay.
Yes.
Joshua has done Marshall
Oh,
Ney. I think
nice.
it's the retreat from Moscow one, is it? Or not the retreat from Moscow, but it's the Clash of Eagles figure, isn't it?
Nice.
Great flesh.
Very, very, very cool. Really, really nice. You've got to love a Marshall Ney. Marcus, he's done some 100 Years War stuff, which is okay. So more medievals. I really like the livery color on that. I like the yellow, which is not bright, but sort of fate, sort of orangey yellow. That's really quite nice.
Nice.
Really do like that. Matt Mail, he's been doing some Germans.
Nice.
Very nice, very nice.
Always nice to see. I was about to say we haven't really had much World War II, and then that gone. Nathan, we have some Napoleonic artillery.
A boom gun.
Everyone, you got to love a cannon. You have to love a cannon. How can you not? Pat as well. He's been doing some North Africa stuff.
Oh, nice.
Which looks really nice. Is this Warlord? I can't remember if he said this was Warlord, but I do really like it. It looks awesome.
Metals.
They do look good.
Or it might be Perry. Is it Perry? Because obviously they do.
They do metals.
They do not.
I don't recognize that Warlord kit. To be fair, a little more true scale. To be fair.
I was going to say that. Yeah.
It does look very, very nice. Paul, now this is a guy from Warcry, isn't it? But I really, really liked the flesh on this. I thought it looked really, really cool. So that's always cool to see. Although he does look like someone I once met in a mosh pit at a Slayer gig. So Paul Franklin, another game. So he was they were playing with Lion Rampant, I believe. So here's his Crusader game. Very cool. Very nice.
Where did you get that cross? That's awesome.
Is it one of the Fireforge models? Is it one of the Fireforge models? They've got some sort of resin characters.
Yeah,
the cavalry certainly are.
I think it might be Fireforge.
Now I'm going to put up a picture from our friend Paul, who did this based on the that picture. He's already converted it. It's just awesome. I mean, what else can we say?
Yeah, it gets better and better, doesn't it? Stuff. Jeez.
It does. I mean, I know Dom just wants to shoot it because it's French, but it does look awesome.
Yeah, well, you have to appreciate the things you're about to kill. I think that's important.
You do. Oh, the prettier they are, the harder it is. Well, no,
exactly.
Bit of a time, but very nice. Roy, we've got some ECW.
Oh yeah,
very nice. Got a command in there, and he said he snuck some 30 Years War figures actually into there as well. But to be honest, it just looks awesome. I think that's very cool.
You barely can tell the difference, can you? Really, it's not really an awful lot of difference.
Very cool.
Very nice.
Phil, we've got some vehicles underway. I like
lovely.
In progress stuff. They are nice. Are these the long range Jeeps for the SAS?
Then the
where are they from? Are they offensive ones or are they
the resin, whatever they are?
No, the offensive ones are metal, aren't they?
Yeah,
are they?
I've just seen. So Jace has just replied about his game with Johnny B. He said it was easy to play. The quirks throw the game on its head. John had a leader that was cowardly and needed to move away from his enemies, so I chased them off. And Lion Stars says yes, it was Fireforge, the cross. So that is very cool. Simon, he's been working on Blood Bowl. If you see now,
nice.
Simon has put up a picture of a Blood Bowl team, and he's very kindly named some of them after us. Did you see it, Ken?
No, I haven't seen this yet. No.
And you've not seen it. All right, should we just say so? I can't remember. So effectively, I think me and Steve are like the half orc kind of ogre-y things. Dom is obviously the kicker, the team captain, and the Kens are all of like the gobbos.
How many goblins has he got?
I think it's
about 10.
Basically,
I think they're just called.
No, I think it's like the head of the Hydra. If you kill one, two pop up.
Yeah.
Apparently, he said that I was the kicker because I was allowed to kick you. So I thought that was great.
He gave him a kick in, but no, awesome stuff. It's nice to see some Blood Bowl. Although, if I remember correctly, he didn't. I don't think he had a great time painting these ones. I don't think he enjoyed it. But Blood Bowl, and he's got a league going on. So what a see again. So you need. Yeah, well, there you go, Steve. You need to finish your 4 orcs for CrackCon and get Simon there and have a game of Blood Bowl. We'll have a Blood Bowl tournament at CrackCon.
I've actually got 2 Blood Bowl teams. I need to paint the orcs because I want to teach my nephew, but he specifically wants to play as orcs because they're violent.
Sounds like Haley. sounds like Haley. That just is the prerequisite for. Next, Stephen Smith. He's done a couple. Stephen's usually putting up, some Napoleonics or some historicals. So he's got some fantasy. This is a Song of Ice and Fire. These are the Mountains Men, I believe. But I really, really like the armor on the guy on the right.
Yeah,
that's a beautiful job,
really,
isn't it?
really nice. Very cool. And they aren't small models. I think they're about 30. I think they're 32 mil.
Yeah,
32 to
31.
32
mil
very
would be about right. Mm.
They are very, very chunky models. So each one gets its own effective.
How's he done that armor? Is that just? How do you reckon that's been done?
I'm not sure. Stephen, when you watch this, just let us know, because it's very, very cool.
Retributor armor gold, I reckon, maybe.
It is cool. Yeah, maybe. And then sound. I mean, I found that the best wash for armor is Gilliman Flesh. I think it's the best. It's the best one for armor. Weirdly, yeah. If you wash Retributor Gold with Gilliman Flesh, and then just go back and do a little highlight or dry brush with Retributor again. It really does. That's what I do for all my gold now. And I think that was a Duncan Rhodes thing that I just happened to watch one of his videos, and when you find it, you're like, yeah, that works. So I'm doing it.
Sticking to
that. Steve, I think this is for Stargrave. Or
this is stunning, absolutely stunning.
They're very, very cool. They are very, very cool. See, Stargrave, another game that some people in my little gaming group are playing, and I need to. Oh, do I need to? Yeah, of course I need to. Stephen, back on some Stormcasts, and that is awesome. I love that banner. I love that because it's like a lethal weapon on its own.
Yes.
You'd twat somebody over the head with that, they'd know all about it, wouldn't they?
Exactly, yeah, it's very nice.
Bad.
Very cool. I just like the fact that they're so colourful, because a lot of the Stormcast, I mean, obviously I paint them like they're just stone statues, because I'm lazy, but I see other ones are gold, so I just really like the fact he's just going with a completely different colour palette. I think it's really, really cool. Tony had a game of Wars of the Roses. Wow. There you go. So it's nice to see all the stuff he's been, painting up. He's been posted up here. So this is Tewkesbury, I believe, and I think that's the Lancastrians on the left, because that's the King's Banner down there. But that is very, very cool.
Flags.
You can't. Why do? And then Warren's not last today. Warren designed this in Tinkercad and then printed it. So, I've been playing around on Tinkercad, and I managed to make a pyramid. But when I say pyramid, I don't mean put together out of blocks, as in an actual. I mean, literally, it was just a shape. And the fact that I managed to get it and scale it was enough. I mean, we use CAD at work, but I despise it, and I'm not a CAD operator, which is why we hire other people to do it. But no, that's very cool, considering you did that in a piece of software that I believe is completely free. So. Very nice. Cool. I think it is anyway. And finally, Hideyoshi Darrell. I had to pop that up.
Oh,
look at
that! Beautiful.
Look at
very nice.
It's very, very cool. It just, and I think these are Spanish. He said so. Some very cool stuff. So, guys, there lots. Please keep on posting. It really is wicked to see what everybody is working on. Of course, keep
definitely
on posting our updates as well. So anyway, I think that brings us to the end. We're 6 minutes over. So so I thought that went pretty well. There was nothing too vicious. Whose turn is it next week? I believe it's Steve. I think.
I thought it was Ken.
Or is it Ken?
It's probably me, but we'll see. We'll find out.
We'll find out. We'll find out. So,
if
guys,
not, it will skip a week Tuesday.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Well, guys, everybody, thank you so much for watching. Remember, if you're not part of the Facebook group, then join it below and join in the conversations that we're having on there, and post up your pictures. Thank you to everybody who's watching on the replay. Thank you to everyone who joined in on the chat and who sent in questions. Remember, you can also find our channels down below. Hit like if you enjoyed it, and we will be here next week with another episode of the Plastic Crack podcast. So thank you, everybody, and we will see you all again soon. I'm trying to find the video to start playing it. We will see you all soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.